Welcome back to The Way of the Wandering Wizard. I am, as always, Robert Andrew Meredith Kennedy, and I am a pure and open channel for the finest vibrations of divine love and light, made manifest here in service to Gaia and those who travel with her. Most folks know me as Bob the Wizard, some as Gandalf Bob the Wise, others as the Weirdo in the Kill, and a lot more besides. My last videoettes, I was introducing you to the founding of a foundation, the beginnings of Cheeky, the Cheeky Foundation, and our ongoing work. I made mention of profound awakenings for myself during the course of Know Your Roots. It was almost as if a part of me had quite literally taken that as an invitation. Know your roots. Not think about your roots, not track down your bloodlines, not have your DNA analysed to see where you come from, but know your roots. That was my first big weekend out. Been to the one festival since the accident. Obviously, the accident had profoundly changed the way that I see the world. In many ways, near-death experience. An expansion of consciousness as the result of pain, blood loss. Could be defined as a shamanic awakening. It certainly left my body as I travelled around my mind, saw myself through space and time, and the journey that I've shared way back into the light. The start of this journey, well, the YouTube bit. As you can imagine, that changes the way we see the world. I'd quested. I'd written many books, which will be future chapters. Having been aware of lives, past lives, clearly that became a focus. And I read a lot of work, Destiny of Souls, Journey of Souls by Newton. I'd also started to revisit my shamanic practices. Don't know how to describe it. Shamanic way of looking at the world. Was introduced to the great Celtic work, Fire in the Head, and became aware that, I don't know, maybe many of us that go through these profound life-changing experiences, many that are struggling, many in the past who now deemed with mental illness, would be seen as shamans in the past. Lying there in my tent on the equinox with a tribal gathering around me, those sort of ideas and thoughts just came into an alignment. It was just a moment, something just felt like it shifted. One of those complex problems that you've been thinking about, looking at. Ah, that's it. Those paintings with all the dots that you look at that I never get. Oh! Well, something like that. Just looking at the pattern, so to speak, what appeared was a wolf. It's hardly surprising. The energy around the temple, the Cheeky temple. Lou's always had dogs. Many people, it was just that, maybe that sense of pack, that kind of energy. That's what minds do. Is energy and experience, how the mind makes sense of it. It made sense to me shamanically. Many years ago, many moons ago, when I went to shamanic workshops, we journeyed either under the sound of the drum or music and just meditated within our minds and discovered our totem animals. Unsurprisingly, my first was a bear. It served me well, or we've worked well together, would be a better way of looking at it, for many years. My next shamanic journey was the eagle. It made sense to me. Something walking on the ground with an eagle's oversight above it. Mind and matter. Analogies for the way I find myself working, and many others. was making a lot of mention at the time on Facebook and various others of moving from bipolarity into tripolarity. And in many ways that bear, wolf, eagle awakening was the point where something shifted in me, and I regained my balance. The love, wisdom and power of Reiki, whatever way we would like to look at it, something shifted for me personally then. Click. It was one of those, a joyous weekend of experiential awakenings. I had my first experience of poetry. Clearly it didn't rub off that much. That was my best attempt at prose at the start. There were some intense emotions there, I'll be honest. I've never really stood. I generally stand in front of the bands and listen to the music play. I've never been one to stand in Poets' Corner, but yeah, there was an intense experience. In fact, several visits over the course of the weekend. Listened to some very wise and bardic recitals. So having been isolated, I suppose, from that for so long, with the accident and all of my personal challenges, to be back in the folds of the family, that uplifting energy just lifted me. In the days that followed, after we unpacked from a wonderful festival, headed home, a crystal that had been hanging round my neck since, probably my very first days of getting onto some kind of spiritual path, fell off my neck. Practical, reasonable scientists said it's been in there for 20, 30, 20 odd years, 23 years, 25 years, probably longer. It fell on the floor, and I took that as being a significant point. Maybe I'd carried it long enough, maybe it had been through enough accidents, I don't know. Somewhat excitedly, I thought that we could use this within Cheeky, and I excitedly rushed home, crystal in hand, and shot down to meet Lou. I mean, on arriving, I was full of energy, full of excitement, and she quite sensibly decided that that would be far too vibrant an energy for a herbalist's gentle place where she brewed her remedies, worked her magic, and sent her uncouth, great hairy Viking thing off to find a tree to earth that energy. That's it. In many ways I should have known to be doing much the same, but that was the way the foundation was formed. That's how it worked. It was just like a huge download of information, exciting ideas delivered to the earth, and then slowly worked on. We went on to make many crystal tinctures using that stone and others, that vibration adding into the work, adding another dimension to what was to become Cheeky. So this part of my life, knowing your roots, finding my third component, my love, wisdom and power, nicely in balance, my bear, wolf, eagle, whatever analogy you wish to use, that sense of self again. And that was pretty much the space I found myself in. Having pretty much achieved what I wanted to achieve, and feeling that we were on form. A new project, new ideas, everything was looking good to go for an epic future. And probably much like many of the rest of you, all of a sudden the universe decided to put quite a considerable lock on us all. And my next little chapter out, I'm going to do it. Let's go lockdown. From a wizard's perspective. Thank you for listening to the wanderings and shamanic driftings on a Sunday morning for Wise, old wizard. As always, thank you for listening. Take care, go well, and blessed be.